Hello, let's just get right into the presentation. In today's lesson, we'll be learning about the perspective of an Irish immigrant during the United States Great Depression of 1929 through 1939. Now, before we continue, I actually managed to get my hands on a real authentic journal that provides a historical account of an immigrant's life during the Great Depression. Just don't ask how. Luckily, I was able to post bail. Anyway, from here on, we will undergo the perspective of our autobiography, and further, analyze possible links to the present.
November 3rd, 1932. Robert here. You know, I never really thought about this so-called Great Depression I am currently living in. If I recall, stocks have existed since the 18th century when the New York Stock Exchange was founded. You'd think there would have been a solution, as stocks generally rose during the Roaring Twenties when I immigrated from Ireland to New York. Yet even when the crash initially happened, I didn't think about it too much despite the over-speculation, until I heard rumors this depression went from grumpy economists to people now losing their jobs. November 17, 1932. I just can't believe it, several of my co-workers and I lost our job at the factory. How else am I supposed to feed myself now? Meanwhile, our boss gets to hoard all the money in this crisis, while us working class continually suffers throughout the depression. I swear those businessmen deserve to go bankrupt after what they just did. November 18, 1932. I honestly find it interesting how the roles of society have changed. While similarly both men and women were in the workforce, though I point out how seeing a woman was a rare sight. Now, since us predominantly men are out of a job, we now see women becoming the breadwinner of their families. Goes to show how life drastically changes just from money, I suppose. November 23, 1932. I feel slight pity for our farmers in America. I know we're both partially in common as we work to supply America. Yet I feel compelled to acknowledge how the farmers are suffering through a great burden with the dust storms taking place. Unlike an economic crash which can be prevented, you can't really stop Mother Nature, can you? November 25, 1932. You know, I can honestly relate to our African American brothers. While working in the Civilian Conservation Corps, I wasn't surprised to see discrimination take place with segregation at our camps. Similarly, this reminds me as us Irish folk are still discriminated against because we undertook Catholicism. Though, one could argue the African Americans have it worse as the 14th Amendment was made against them. November 30, 1932. I suppose I should provide commentary on the situation with our fellow Mexican Americans. You know, I feel frightened at the thought of deportation just like what they're experiencing due to Mexican repatriation. I relate to them as we're both immigrants and we're the backbone of the nation's production. Though the only difference between both of us is one of us being unlucky. Well, can't you believe that? Seems like life actually went better. Somewhat. We're now at war with another country. Despite this, some relics of the Great Depression remain in our society today. With, I suppose, one example being women retaining much of the influence in the workforce from the Great Depression, especially now since all of us men are off to war. Welp, I sure hope I don't get shot.